welcome to my channel. Today I'm showing you how to make these granny square shorts in sizes extra small through 3X. I haven't tested the 3X and the 2X measurements, but I've tested extra small up to extra large. I just added the plus sizes because I was requested to on TikTok. So here you go. Here is everything you'll need. Here is up close of the size chart. You can screenshot that. And then you'll need measuring tape, a darning needle, scissors, a 6mm hook, a 6.5mm hook, and a 7mm hook. And then of course your yarn of choice. You can use up to however many colors you want. Today I'm making a size small, so you need 4 squares. Here's round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, round 7, round 8, and you need 4 like I said. So next is the crotch part, and for that you're gonna start with a slip stitch. You're gonna use the size chart for your measurements. I'm making a small, so I'm chaining 12, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then I'm going to double check with the tape measure. Like I said, go off the size chart. Just a double check, that's 4 inches. And I'm going to chain 1 extra for the turning stitch. And then I'm going to put 1 double crochet in each stitch across. And that's pretty much the pattern for the crotch part. 1 double crochet in each stitch across. Chain 1 at the end of each row and turn your work. And you're just going to keep working back and forth like that until you have the length that you want. So this is the end of row 1. And I'm going to double check with the tape measure to make sure it's 4 inches. And then I am going to chain 1, like I said, turn my work, insert, and continue to do double crochets across. And I like to tuck my loose ends as I'm crocheting as much as I can, because you are going to have to tuck a lot of strings at the end if you don't. But that's okay if that's okay with you. I just want to do it as I go. So yes, double crochet across. Here is the size chart again. I'm just going to double check. I'm making a small like I said. Crotch part is done. And then I like to stretch it out a little bit just to see how much it'll stretch, because if the crotch is too big, they'll fit kind of weird. Anyways, you're gonna before you cut the end, you're gonna leave like a tail so that you can use that to sew the crotch onto the shorts. And then you're gonna actually cut another tail in to tie on to the other end so you can sew that part on. Hopefully that makes sense. So to actually assemble the shorts, you're going to put wrong sides together and insert your hook into both last corners that you left off on. And you're going to tie on your yarn. I always do a contrasting color, but you can do the same color if you want. Once you have your yarn tied on, you're going to pull up a loop and do a slip stitch. And then in the corner, you're going to put 2 single crochets. You always want to do 2 single crochets in all the corners, no matter what step you're on. And then from here, you're just matching up the stitches with the other square and putting a single crochet in them. Sorry if I'm not explaining it well, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And like I said, I like to tuck my strings as much as I can while I'm crocheting, so I don't have to do it so much with the needle at the end. And this is how you do all the seams but the crotch seam. Every other seam is just like this. So you put 1 single crochet in each stitch until you get to the corners, and in the corners you put 2. So 1 and 2. You're gonna pull up a little bit of a loop and cut it off. So I like to put the front and back squares together, and then I connect them on the sides. But it honestly doesn't matter how you connect all 4, the seams look the same. Just to show you how to connect the squares one more time, you're gonna put the wrong sides together, insert your hook into the corners of both squares. You're going to tie on your yarn, pull up a loop and make a slip stitch, and then you're going to put 2 single crochets in the corner, and then you're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch across the row, and then you're going to put 2 single crochets in the other corner and cut off your yarn. So same thing we just did, I just wanted to show you one more time. So here's what it looks like with 3 seams done, and I'm gonna connect the last seam, making it into pretty much like a circle, like a skirt. Like if you want to make this into a skirt, you would stop here and skip to the waistband part. To do the crotch part, you're gonna find the middle of your shorts, and you're gonna use the number of stitches that you did for your crotch part and take that in half. So I did 12 stitches total for my crotch. So on each side of the seam, I'm going to count 6 stitches. So if you did 14, you would do 7. If you did 16, you would do 8. If you got an odd number, I would go with the biggest number. So if you did 15, I would do 8 on each side. So to sew the crotch to the shorts, you're going to use your darning needle. You're going to first make an anchor, like basically going into the side of your first stitch and making a little loop, and then you're going to go into the back loops of each stitch. So on your crotch, you're going to go into the back loop, and then on your granny square, you're going to go into the back loop. You're going to pull through. It's hard for me to explain, so it's better to just watch what I'm doing, but you're going to go into the back loops first. We're going to sew back across going into both, but first I like to do the back loops. It creates like a flatter seam, I found. And you want to make sure when you count in, you include the corner stitches, because you do a chain right there. So count that stitch. And like I said, we're going to go back and go through both loops. So you're doing 2 passes of sewing. To do the leg seams, you're going to do the same thing we just did, just not connecting any squares anymore. But you're going to do the same tie on, do 2 single crochets in the corner stitches, and then 1 single crochet all the way around. And I'll show you how to do the crotch part stitches, because it can get a little bit confusing. For the crotch part, you want to go into every other space, not every space, because going into every space makes it a little bit loose for me, and I like them to be tight. But if you want more of a looser fit around your thighs, go into every space. Once you get back to where you started, you're going to remember to do 2 in that space and then connect it with a slip stitch. Here's what the leg seams look like, and then the waistband is what's next. So before I create the waistband, I do a seam of single crochets like we just did, doing 2 single crochets in the corner stitch and then 1 all the way around, and then connecting the row with a slip stitch into the first stitch. So don't cut your yarn after the waist seam. You're going to chain 2, and then you're going to do 1 double crochet all the way around into each single crochet we just did. And this is the first row of the waistband. For the waistband, we are doing 1 row of double crochet and then a second row of double crochet, front post double crochet and back post double crochet, and I'll show you what that looks like. So first we're going to finish off our first row of double crochet, and we're going to connect the row with a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 2 again, and then we are going to go into the front post of the double crochet that we just did in the first row, do a double crochet, and then do a double crochet in the back post. It's hard for me to explain. I would recommend you look up a video if this isn't good enough explanation. It's something I learned on YouTube. And so we do that all the way around, and then we connect the row with a slip stitch again. Then we can pull up a little loop and cut it off and tuck that in. This is when I took all my loose ends from the seams and then the middles of the granny squares as well. To make the drawstring, you're going to take 2 strands of yarn, make a slip knot, pull one loop inside the other so you only have one loop on your hook. It's a little bit hard to do. Tighten, and then you are going to yarn over to the back, pull through, yarn over to the back, pull through, yarn over to the back, pull through, and you're going to keep doing that until you have the length that you need. I usually do mine between 44, 48, 50, depending on the size. And the last step is to use your darning needle and to weave in and out of the waistband with the drawstring. I skip over 2 stitches and then I insert, skip over 2 stitches, insert, and you are done. Thanks for watching. You can purchase a pair for yourself on my Etsy shop. I'll put the link in the description.